Those guided meditations you see online that promise to help you attract love? Well, today we're going to deconstruct one of the really popular ones to see exactly what's going on under the hood. We're going to break down its core ideas, the specific steps it asks you to take, and the results it promises, all pulled straight from the source material. So the whole practice really boils down to this one single question. Can you actually manifest a relationship just by creating a specific feeling inside yourself? That's the big idea we're about to unpack. And right out of the gate, the source makes this incredibly bold promise. Stick with this for 30 days and you'll see more of a reflection of love in your life than ever before. I mean, that's a huge claim, right? So let's dig into the technique that's supposed to make that happen. Okay, so the first thing you have to understand is its core philosophy. This is not about going out and searching for love somewhere out there. Nope. The meditation argues that the whole process has to kick off by nurturing a very specific feeling inside of you first. And that leads us right to the foundational concept. The source says that everything in your life is a reflection of what you feel. So the logic here is pretty simple. If you want to change what's happening on the outside, you have got to start by changing how you feel on the inside. All right, let's get into the nuts and bolts. The meditation kicks off with what it calls a foundational phase, which is all about setting your intention and really connecting with your body in a physical way. It starts with 3 very deliberate actions. First, you set a crystal clear intention to feel more love. Simple enough. Second, you actually physically place your hands over your heart to draw your focus right to that spot. And finally, you use these deep breaths to connect with what the meditation calls your heart's energy center. And this comparison just nails the huge mindset shift it's asking for. The whole point is to stop operating from a place of lack, that feeling of seeking someone to complete you, and to start operating from a place of abundance, where you are already radiating the very love you want to attract. And they are not messing around with this point. It's presented as totally non-negotiable. The entire practice is built on the belief that you aren't broken, you aren't missing a piece. You have to begin from a place of being whole, right here, right now. All right, now we get to the really creative part, the heart of the whole meditation. It's a super powerful visualization exercise that's designed to actually generate that feeling of love from the inside out. The instructions are very specific here. You're told to visualize a seed of love. Then you mentally plant it right there in your chest, and then you start to feel it grow. And to feed this little seed, you're asked to bring up a really powerful, positive memory, a time when you felt incredibly connected and loved. But how do you make an old memory feel real right now? Well, the meditation uses these little sensory triggers. By asking you about the colors, the sounds, the temperature, it's trying to pull that feeling from the past right into the present moment, which makes the emotion feel way more potent and real. Okay, so you've got the feeling going. The next phase is all about cranking the volume way, way up on that energy and then locking it in with some very specific phrases. And this is a really key moment. It's not enough to just feel the love. You're guided to consciously magnify it by 10 times. The idea is to imagine this feeling as an energy that's expanding far beyond your physical body. According to the source, this is what actually changes your personal energy field, or, what you might call the vibe you're giving off to everyone around you. So, while you're holding onto that big, expanded feeling, you start a series of affirmations. And the very first one takes us right back to that foundation we talked about, just hammering home that core belief of self-wholeness. The next affirmation is super simple, very direct, and really powerful. It's meant to be stated as a fact, right now, in the present tense, not something you want to be true, but something that is true. You are loved. And this is where it gets really interesting. This is where the idea of reciprocal attraction comes in. The meditation introduces this concept that the love you're looking for, well, it's also actively looking for you. It's like creating a magnetic pull from both directions. So, how does this all tie together? Well, the final part of the meditation lays out the game plan, the recommended practice, and the specific results that you're told you can expect. The prescription is pretty clear. For this whole thing to work, the source strongly recommends you listen and do the practice for at least 30 days straight. That's the commitment it says is needed to really manifest the relationship. So what's the payoff for all this work? Well, the source claims that if you practice consistently, you're going to see some real tangible changes. And we're not just talking about attracting a partner.
It also mentions things like amazing synchronicities popping up, noticing that people just treat you differently, and even seeing some of these shifts within the very first week.
And all of that brings us to the final question, doesn't it? The entire system we've just taken apart is built on this one central idea. It poses that your heart and the feeling you can learn to generate inside it is actually the most powerful magnet you have. And that, well, that's a fascinating idea to think about.